Welcome back to Operation Intel. This is a place where veterans can sit down, tell their stories, tell about their deployments, not only their deployments, but their struggles after deployments, what they're up to now, and yeah, how their life has been. The reason why I started this channel was we lose 22 veterans a day to suicide. And I think a good conversation allows veterans to understand that they're not alone in the struggles that they have. Um, Today, I'm pretty excited about this. This is somebody that I went to Iraq with. Um, John Macaluso, how you doing, bud?
Doing good, doing good. A little tired, but I'm doing good.
Doing good.
Yeah.
We're
I had
all tired, buddy.
a 12-hour shift last night, but hey, I'm
Oh
here.
my gosh, man. Oh my gosh. So, tell me a little bit about yourself. You know, I had the opportunity to deploy with you. But for those viewers at home, tell us a little bit about who you are, where you grew up with, what did life look like before the military for you?
Yeah, it was kind of short lived. Like I was a badass. I got expelled from high school. Didn't finish high school, and I didn't really want to go back to high school. So I was like, my whole family was in the military. My grandpa stormed the beach. My older brother was a tanker. So it was in the family. So I was like, hey, I'm 17. Let me join. Mom and dad signed off, and I went. So, but life before that, it was hard for my mom and dad. I grew up kind of poor.
Yeah.
Government cheese, government milk. Seriously, it was bad. We got one pair of shoes, two pairs of shoes a year.
Yeah.
But other than that, it. I grew up in New Orleans, so it was always something to do.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into that later because what you've done outside of the military, man, it makes me proud to have served with you. Um, and I want to get into that too, because I think everybody needs to hear that. So tell us a little bit about, yesterday when I had Crouch on, he was telling me when he went down to the recruitment office, one of the biggest things was he didn't want to be like just behind a desk. He wanted to be doing something productive. But not only that, they promised him a big old signing bonus, and the rest is history, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
what was that process for you like, going down to the recruiter's office to MEPS to basic training?
Well, it was. I got lied to, just like 90% of the people. Like I wanted to. I went in there asking. I want infantry because that's what my grandpa was. That's what my older brother was before he became a tanker. And then I found out there's a big old conflict between tankers and Cav Scouts, and he was a tanker at the time. So I was like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go scout to show him I'm the real a scout. So I went in there, and the recruiter was a ordnance, which if the viewers don't know, ordnance is like all your specialty services, mechanics, electricians, anything that helps the military move. So,
Yeah.
and he was reserve. So he was pushing me that way. So I didn't really want the MOS I got. It was a generator mechanic, which electrician, small engines. I can pretty much fix any engine, track, wheel. It doesn't matter. But I didn't really want that, and so I was like, you know what, this is my foot in the door. I know people can go in the military and change jobs, do some other things, but yeah, I really wanted to be combat arms, but I got lied to, and just like you said, the rest is history.
Yeah, man. It is so funny to me because you always hear, "Don't let your recruiter lie to you," right? And I think we all let that happen, which is funny because I wanted to be combat arms. I went through a situation, where my cousin passed away in Iraq, and I was just angry. I never really wanted to join the military. I
Yeah,
didn't have a military family or anything like that. Um, but my buddy who went into the military with me, Didn't want to be combat arms whatsoever. And they were like, "Oh, I got the perfect job for you, combat engineer." Well, our ASVAB scores were completely apart. He was very intelligent. Me, well, I got by. C student, right?
Yeah.
Um, so they said combat engineers, but you wouldn't be doing anything much. And then they showed us the video of, blowing
Blowing
stuff
shit
up.
up and it got you.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Yep.
Didn't realize that you'd be the one getting blown up, right?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's what I tell people now. They're like, yeah, four combat tours. Well, I'm sorry, four deployments, two combat tours, and they're like, oh, you were only a mechanic. You got a combat action badge, though. I'm like, let's just say I didn't sit on my ass and just turn wrenches. When they needed me, I stood up and I'm like, let's go. If I get blown up, I get blown up. It's part of the job. Definitely being in Iraq. The first time I went OIF 2, and when did we go? OIF 5 or 4?
Not sure. It was 2006.
So probably 4. Probably 4 or 5.
Yeah, 2006. Yep.
So it was people like, I'm like, yeah, some people might call me a pogue, but you know what? Hey, I don't have to lie about what I did. I know what I did. And it,
Yeah,
it is what it is.
you also have hand accounts too, because our maintenance team, which you were a part of, went out. I mean, you guys were amazing. You're one of the reasons why we could keep the ball rolling, keep the trucks rolling out. But not only that, you guys did go outside the gate. Um, so hats off to you guys. Most respect. Yeah, just as much so as any guy in my platoon or Crouch's platoon. You guys did an
Yeah.
amazing job.
I mean,
So
I was thinking about this last night. I was like thinking about this, what we doing now. And I was like, yeah, we heard one of y'all get hit and we would be waiting. It was like a NASCAR event.
yeah.
Someone comes in and it's like, hey, we have no windows. We got blown out. We need windows. Okay, pull up. We fix the windows. Y'all are out again. It was like a super fast NASCAR pit crew.
Yeah, it was nice. I remember Christmas Day, which I'm sure you remember too.
Oh,
I
I
remember
remember that. Yep.
it just seemed like I had been back to at the fob for I don't even know how many times. Going back out. You guys kept us rolling, and you guys made that process so seamless, and it was amazing. Now looking back on it, right? You guys made it easy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean that's what we had to do. Turn wrenches, get y'all back out there, so y'all can do y'all job. And if y'all need someone, we'll step up.
yeah, it was amazing. You said you did four deployments, right?
Yeah, I did Bosnia for it was a little bit more than a month when I was in Germany, when I was stationed in Germany, and then I did Kosovo for 6 months.
Oh my goodness, man. I didn't, and there's things that I don't know about you guys. I think it's an amazing thing because I get to sit down with you guys and really learn more about each and every one of you that I served with. It's nice because I didn't know that. So when we went, was that your second deployment to Iraq?
Yes, yeah.
It
My
was.
first one I went with Second Brigade, First ID, the Dagger
Okay.
Brigade, and we were right in the middle of the Sunni Triangle, right at the tip of the triangle. That's where I was.
Oh wow, man.
Yeah, I was off in the. I was, if you look at a map, I was in the middle of Beji, I think it's Bayja, oh Ji, and then to Crit. That's where my fob was.
Okay. Yeah, I know that drive up to Tikrit, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's a shitty drive.
Man, it was something else. Um, Let me ask you something. Each person has their own like way of dealing with it, not dealing with it, but how it felt to them when they first heard that they were getting deployed to Iraq. Um, what was that first initial thought that went through your head and emotion when you knew that you were going overseas?
Well, I was already in the military during September 11th. Like I watched it happen when I was in Germany, right? So after that, I was pissed off, like
Yeah.
as if every red blooded American was. And sorry, hold on. It just pisses me off, you know.
Yeah.
Even 24 years later, it pisses me off. But I just wanted to get over there. Like even being a mechanic, I wanted to put my boot in someone's fucking throat, you know.
Yeah.
So, but once the warning orders came down, I was like, yes, finally, let's go. And because the unit I was with, we just like in 72nd, we supported the whole brigade. So,
Yeah.
and I was with they put me to Task Force Lightning, which was 1-7, which was field artillery, but they kicked down doors and all that shit too. So they did a lot of infantry type stuff other than artillery. So it was I was happy. I was a little scared, but I was like, you know what? This is my calling. This is what I was. The biggest thing was if my grandpa can storm the beach, I could go to Iraq.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, I went through, somebody very close to me dying over there about a year from when we left. And I remember being so angry, but then not only being angry, but then when they said that we were deploying, it was almost like, okay, well, this is what you signed up for. The fear of the unknown, right?
Yeah,
I think that gets us all. I think that that's what got me the most is just not knowing.
yeah,
Um, and it was all whirlwind because I went straight from basic training to NTC over to Iraq, and it just seemed like I was home last week, and now I'm in the desert. Um, I think we all have that switch because when we first go over there, we're blinded by the culture over here in the United States. Um, was there a moment in either one of the deployments to Iraq that it kind of opened your eyes that it went from okay, well, I'm over here just doing a job to wow, this is real. I'm in an actual war zone where shit hit the fan,
yeah.
basically.
Well, I guess you could say the first time I was over there, we ran our own supplies. We had to go get our own truck supplies all the way to Bob Spiker, all that stuff, which wasn't a bad drive, but we had our own gun trucks. We didn't have any kind of support. We did our own thing. And one time it was my front gun truck seen an IED, so we were sitting there on it for like hours and hours, and finally EOD came and blew it up. But while I was there, this little girl came up to me, gave me a hug, would not leave my side, and I got the feeling that she wanted us there, which a lot of people in Iraq did want us there, but didn't want us there. And so at that point, I was like, "This is why we're over here."
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes later, we almost got hit by a VBIB going to Spiker, and if it wasn't for the Abrams that were just patrolling, we would have took the VBIB head on. So I don't even know if I'll be talking right now. So
Yeah.
so it's I always said to myself, I got to keep my head on a swivel, no matter where I'm at. I could be in the
Yeah.
middle. I could be in the middle of Fob Anaconda. I could be in the middle of Spiker, which were huge bases. But I always got to keep my head on a swivel, and I still do it now. Like my wife, she could tell you, I'm always on the lookout. Like
Yeah.
I'm always prepared for something to go down, always, and I'm always ready for that. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but not only so much as that as you've shown it in different instances of your life that I'm looking forward to talking to you about again here in just a few minutes. But you know, I know when I was over there, the first thing I was like, okay, this is cool. This is a different place in the world. I'd never been outside of the United States. I'd never been, I'd been to different states, but not very many, to be honest with you. But then when I seen somebody in a burqa, it was like, it was almost like a culture shock right away. I remember going from Anaconda to Warhorse, and
That was a shitty drive. I'm sorry, but that
it was, man. It was. but that's what got me. And then the first day out of the gate, I got hit. So, I always wondered, how many of you guys kind of experienced the same thing where it was like, holy shit, I'm finally here. And this is actual war.
Yeah.
And I think
Like,
we all have that moment.
like we bitch and complain about in the military about going to the field, training. But when you in that situation, it's almost like tunnel vision. You know what to do, when to do it. You might have a break and a pause, and you come back and you say, "Oh shit, fuck, I'm getting attacked. Let's
Yeah.
return fire. Let's get to safety. Let me get my guys off the X. Whatever." But it's training definitely does come into play, and when you get in those situations, you might bitch and complain when it's going on, but trust me, when it happens, you know exactly what to do.
Yeah. You know, I remember first Sergeant Yoke.
Oh
I
God,
remember first.
his story times at the fire pit.
Yeah, but he brought good knowledge too through all the craziness. He brought great knowledge because if you remember him saying, "We cannot get complacent," it was just ingrained in us
Yep.
not to be complacent.
Plus,
And
plus he would bring you in his hooch and beat the shit out of you, probably.
yeah, he, he was something else. But you know what? I when we were on, the fob, we were one of the only areas that were allowed to dress in civilian clothes just to be comfortable. I mean, I went out there a lot of the times in nothing but, a pair of gym shorts that weren't army issued and a
Yeah.
tank top. And he just didn't care.
Yep.
As long as you were doing your job, he made it, in my opinion, he made it easy. And I think that may have been some old school in him. Um, they're doing their job. Let them let them live a little bit. I
Yep.
don't care what they do as long as they're doing their job right, right?
And then he would put Captain Leos in his place all the time, and I loved it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We won't get into that one, but yeah, man. There were a couple instances. Were you there when were you on the mission when the buffalo rolled over?
I was like off the truck.
Yeah.
No, I was I didn't get Sergeant Hartman didn't pick me for that one. He didn't know. But I watched the video and I laughed my ass off. Yes.
It was I wasn't there for that one either. I just thought maybe that you had been there. We have so many stories, and um it, it's all just fun to talk about. And I
And
I think
it's funny you said that because you know how I told you we came down here for a little like meetup a couple years ago with the 72nd guys, some of them,
yeah.
and she was my girlfriend now at the time, but my fiance actually I think, but wife now. But she's like, it's like y'all are all have memory loss, and y'all all tell a part of the story, and
Yeah,
I have to sit back there and make this big old story. But y'all know what y'all talking about, but I don't.
yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because um was it 2 years ago when we lost Greenwood, which me and Greenwood were pretty close. We used to go to the MWR together, and
Yeah,
I have some really good memories of him. But a bunch of our squad met up down in Dallas for his funeral, and my ex-wife told me, she was like, it's like you guys never missed a part of each other's lives. You can finish each other's stories, and you guys, she told me, a lot of people say it, I've never seen you smile that big. And I think that that's huge because keeping in contact with guys like you, guys like Crouch. I'm going to be doing an interview here tonight with Sergeant Smith. Just
oh, I haven't seen him in years.
he's a professor now,
Oh,
or I
good.
think he's a professor. He has a PhD. I know that.
Oh shit.
Um,
All right, Doctor
yeah,
Smith.
yeah, I know. I would have never have thought, but yeah. one hell of a good guy. I credit him a lot to, he was that role model for me because I grew up with my dad was always in the picture, but
Yeah.
I was one of those guys that was just fresh in the military, needed guidance, and he was always there for me.
Oh,
So
he was a. I remember a couple of times he was on your ass, on all y'all asses. But you need someone like that in the military. You need someone old school. Like if you ask me, I think the military is kind of soft now.
yeah,
Like they need some of our old cats like me, Sergeant Smith, you, stuff like that, go in there and But hey, it is what it is.
yeah. It honestly, and I'm sure we all think this, but it scares the hell out of me the way that our military is sort of changing now. Where like in basic training, yeah, I don't know this to be true, so I could be completely wrong. But the stress cards, which I've heard that they're doing away with and stuff like that, I
I went to Fort Knox. We never had them. Our stress card was get your fucking ass in the pit and smoke yourself.
yeah, and it's the same way that Leonard would. And
Yeah,
I think that anytime you go into the military, no matter Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, Marines, I believe that you need that because all of us come from different backgrounds. And it's one of those things where it's just like, you need this because we need to teach you how to overcome through stress. And if you don't have stress in those training situations, guess what? What are you going to do out when you're pinned down? That's going to be stress. You can't just pull out a card then.
yeah.
So you're not teaching them nothing,
Nope.
right? Um,
You're absolutely right. It's that right there, and plus it's there to break them down. Like you might be this big ass on the street, but when you have a little bitty 5'8" female in your face dogging you out, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Or you have a 6'6" beast of a drill sergeant in your face. What are you gonna do? You gonna talk shit to him? Go for it. I dare you. You know.
yeah,
So they know how to break people down.
they do. And I credit my drill sergeants for yeah, a lot, man. I'm so happy that I got one of the, in my opinion, everybody says that their drill sergeant was tough. Mine was mine was feisty, man. He was a Puerto Rican guy, and he would
Oh,
drill
that's all you had to
sergeant
say right
Rosa.
there.
Yeah, a drill sergeant Rosa, man. He was something else. You know, it, throughout our deployment, and I was going to tell you this before we got going on Sergeant Smith and stuff, but my ex at the time told me the same thing. She was like, "You guys can finish each other's stories, and all of you, it and you'll tell the same stories over and over and
Yep.
over again and laugh just as hard as you did the last time at it." And she was like, "It's just so fun to sit back and watch, but I've never seen you smile so big."
That's
And
that's exactly when I seen. Yes, we met. Me and Hish met on Bourbon Street, and because he was staying at a hotel close to there, and I
yeah,
broke down when I seen him. I was like, "Holy shit!"
yeah,
Shit eating fucking grin. It was like he was my like long lost. I grew up with him, and once everybody started coming in, like the next night, it was just like nothing ever changed. It was like seamless.
yeah. And it's the weirdest thing when it truly is a brotherhood. And I think you know especially with veterans dealing with what they deal with and stuff like that, I think we need each other more now than ever. And we have an advantage. The guys back in World War II, the guys back in Vietnam, they didn't have the ability to reach out to their battle buddies. They didn't have a chance to do that. We do.
Yeah,
I get to talk if I want to talk to you, I message you on Facebook. If I want to you know what I mean? Like we have that option, but I think sitting down with you guys and talking to you and stuff like that is just it's very healing. I know for me, and hopefully it is for you guys as well, just to, share stories and enjoy each other's company for a little while.
oh yeah, definitely. It's yeah. Like everybody goes through it their own different ways, but like my job now, which we'll get into,
Yeah.
is almost just as much or more stress than the military.
Yeah.
So Like, but I'm built for it. I was in the military, so
Yeah. Yeah.
it's that's why I'll be able to work at a high level like I do now because I'm used to it.
Yeah. And yeah, I'll tell you something. Well, I'll get to it here in a second. So you leave Iraq. How did you end up getting out? Because I lost contact with a lot of you guys because being medevaced out and then being at the Warrior Transition Battalion instead
Yeah.
of back at the unit. I lost track of a lot of you guys. So what happened? Excuse me. What happened after we got back?
Well, I started, going through the, PTSD shit, and then actually Sergeant Hartman's like, I think you have it. You might want to go get checked out. So I was like, okay. So I did that. Um, and it was an eye opener because I was always like, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. I'll be all right. I'll just drink it off, or I'll do something. I'll be fine. Just like probably a lot of the veterans do,
Motrin and water, right?
pretty much. But once I started going down that thing, it opened up everything, and it was more that was hidden underneath it. Once the strength started talking to me, and and then my shoulders, my back's still fucked up.
Yeah.
My knees are fucked up. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity to get out for my family so I can be there for them, at least so they can get me so I'm not crippled. So I did that, and that was the worst mistake of my life because as soon as I got out day one, the next day plus day, me getting out the military, I woke up hopeless. Like, what am I going to do now? Because I was in 12 years. That's all I knew,
Yeah.
And so that's when, like, my ex-wife at the time had the house. I had everything else, but now we're both in the house. And that's when the arguing started. That's when I'm right, you're wrong. No, I'm right, you're wrong started. And it was just cops were getting called, got arrested a couple times for bullshit. It was just,
Yeah.
so that's why I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this to myself. I'm leaving. So I left. Long story short, got a divorce finally. Well, that happened in 2019, but came back home, and then my dad died. So I was like, I can't fight you on child support because I don't have the money. I have to worry about my mom. I was going to school, so and I gave up custody to her. You can have 100%. That was the worst mistake, second worst mistake of my life. Getting out the military and giving that bitch everything, all control of everything. So let's just say from 2010 till now, I have zero relationship with all three of my kids that live in New York, and I'm not going to say that's 100% on her, but it's on me too, you know. But it's mostly on her because that's a whole nother Dr. Phil podcast right there.
Yeah, and you're dealing with a lot that she probably didn't understand, and then I lost my dad last year, and I want to tell you something, man. That I don't think you ever prepare yourself, no matter what, for losing a parent. I think it's one of the hardest things to go through. Um, and it's just difficult, man. I
Yeah,
went through a stretch
like
there, and
we
then
knew he was in hospice. His kidneys
yeah,
were at like 8%, and
yeah,
we knew he was going to die. But one day in the hospice, he died. So I was like, at least he died. I know painless. Like I knew where he went, So I was just like, you know what? I told my mom, I'm like, Mom, if he don't get dialysis, he's gonna die in less than a week. But
yeah.
she's like, I can't stop him. He knows. He's with it. He knows when he signed the paperwork. So there was nothing. Even my job now, there's nothing I could have done.
Yeah, my dad was on dialysis as well. Um, well, he was on there since 2017, and it ended up,
Well, that's a long time. He was a
he
fighter.
he, he was. You know what's crazy is he was one of the only ones that would drive himself to to the dialysis place and drive himself home. Now, should the man have been driving? That's a different question and a different topic because he could barely see. But then he would wobble too because when you have dialysis, you're going to be lightheaded.
Oh yeah,
I
you're gonna be
mean,
weak too after that. Yeah,
yeah. So he did a good job, man. So you get out of the military. I think you struggle with kind of what am I going to do now, which I dealt with as well.
yeah,
And I
and
think I still do deal with that. Oh, what do I want to do now with my life? But
true.
tell me what from then to now, what you been up to, man? What
Well, it was
job wise?
like in Kansas. I like even in the military, I wanted to be a medic. I wanted to be a combat medic. So, but every time I would try, it was either the ST score fucked me up, or oh no, we're deploying. We need you more as this MOS than this MOS. So that's why I would take all the medical classes I could, all that, because I knew that's what I wanted to be. So when I get out in Kansas, I went to school to try to get my EMT. And then that's when all this shit started with my ex-wife. So I was like, well, I'm not going to finish that. So once I came back here, back to New Orleans, I found out that the local community college has a paramedic program. So I was like, that's me right there. That's me. So did that. 18 months, paramedic school passed. And that was like the best decision of my life because like public service, I guess, is in my blood. So
Yeah,
being in the military and now working for New Orleans EMS, it's just that's just public service is in me, And it's the military was very fulfilling, but being a paramedic on the streets, definitely a busy city like New Orleans, when you directly had a helping hand into saving someone's life, it's so fulfilling. I mean,
yeah,
and the bad thing is you can't sit there talk to them. You got to go to the next call. So but yeah,
yeah,
I came back here, did the paramedic thing, and that's what pretty much I've been doing ever since.
yeah. My I think it was on A&E, wasn't it? Was it
Yep.
A&E? So my kids like watching that kind of stuff, right? Um, and there was I forget what it was, and I had no clue you were on there, not a clue in the world. And we were sitting there one night, and I think one of them maybe had put it on, and I said, your big old head came on. I said, I know him. And they go, how do you? No, you don't. Yeah, I do. I said, I was in Iraq with him. So the amount of, it was just, it was a cool moment with the kids to be like, hey, I served and proud of you because it was like, he's doing good, right? Because so many times you see just the opposite. I was talking to Crouch yesterday too, and just seeing his story as well, and just being incredibly proud of you guys doing, overcoming everything and doing well for yourselves.
Oh
It,
yeah,
it
it,
just it
it it
makes
took
me
it
happy.
took a lot. I hit rock bottom 3 times. No money, living in hotels, living in Junction City hotels, and
Oh
you know how
wow,
bad they are.
yeah,
So begging the manager, what can I do around here for to stay one more night? To stay one
yeah,
more night. So once I got back here, it was a shock. I'm back home, and then I was dealing with my ex all the way in New York, whatever. So I was like, I got to get my shit together. So that's when I started school, and I kind of been on this right road ever since. Like I don't take medicine from the VA because when I did, I was a walking drone. I was sedated. I was sleepy all the time. So I don't take any medicine. My medicine now is my family and my wife. So
man. That's the best medicine there is. You I don't care what anybody says. And again, I'll go back to what Crouch was saying, the exact same thing. I think if you were in that little era there where when you got home and something had happened to you, like a traumatic brain injury or PTSD, you really seen the VA in a totally different light. Because when I got out, They were giving me bottles of Vicodin that were so big that you couldn't even finish them if you wanted to. But if you did finish them beforehand, you just go back to the VA and get a whole nother batch of the same amount.
Yep.
And then they were giving you Ambien at the same time. And then wondering why we were struggling. And then also wondering why you have so many veterans on the street right now hooked on opioids. Well, I can give you an example as to why,
Yep.
which I'm sure you see that every single day. Um, you know, utmost respect to you because we look at a couple different things. Number one, you being out there on Bourbon Street in New Orleans and stuff like that, you see a lot of drunk people, but you also see a lot of opioid problems too, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, all the time. It's definitely an epidemic. It
Yeah.
really is. It definitely is. But one thing I want to say is like you remember, of course, everybody remembers Aren't Right,
Yeah.
but I'm the one that had to go.
Yeah. um
Me and my team is the one that had to go recover the vehicle, right? And this is when they got him. They got everybody out the vehicle, right? And I looked in there and I seen the amount of just IVs and catheters that the medic tried to do. And from I look back at that day, that picture is like burned into my brain. So I'm like, from that day forward, I'm gonna use this to be the best paramedic as I can, you know, and save and be the best trauma paramedic I can be. And from that day forward, like every time I'm having a bad call, I just look down on my wrist, you know.
I'll tell you something. That day was it you talk about a wake up call, right? You thought that we were all coming back home, and that when you finally get the realization that that's just not going to happen, or you know, you see Leonard out there playing football, which we did a lot back at Fort Riley,
Oh yeah, we did.
and you know, and then just to know that that's not going to be able to happen again, it it was tough. And I went out on the mission to go to, I think, where was it? Anaconda. To no, 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 no. We took it to Anaconda, but the vehicle itself was up there at
Not Al Assad, oh, I can't remember. Moondia?
yep,
Yes.
that's where it was.
Yep.
And you know, I think that's one of the reasons, and I'm glad that you mentioned this. Probably one of the reasons why I have so much respect for Sergeant Smith. That man cleaned out that vehicle and did not let any of us even touch that vehicle.
Yeah, him, and Lion did.
Oh,
We
you were
yes.
one of them.
Yep. We cleaned that entire inside of that vehicle out.
I'll tell you something. I have the most respect for you guys just because you looked out for us, because you knew that you didn't want to do it. There's no way in hell you wanted to do that, but you were strong enough to do it. And because I don't know how I would have handled that, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I don't.
it was definitely eye opening. But I also told Brian and Root or whoever I forgot the people that own the RG-31s. Who was that? The ones that did the maintenance on them and shit.
Oh, Mantech.
Mantac. I also told them, I'm like, if you think about fixing this truck and giving it back to us, you can go. I'll put a fucking bullet in your fucking head. We
Yeah,
don't want this motherfucker. You better
yeah,
you better give it to another company that's not in First Engineers. We don't want that voodoo.
yeah. And I'll tell you something. It's crazy to me just to sit back and think about that, because I try my best not to think about that too much. But when you get to having conversations with different guys with different perspective, it really hits home for you and really brings back all those emotions, man.
Yeah,
But I do know that that vehicle was never brought back to us. So
good.
um, yeah, so that was a tough one, man. That
That hurt everybody. I think mainly because he was such a good guy,
yeah.
such a good person. Like even better sergeant. Like he was just such a fucking good human being. You know.
It he was, and I the one thing I remember so much about Sergeant Wright was out there at NTC, and he was our gunner in the back, and all I could you couldn't understand. For those at home, Sergeant Wright was Jamaican, okay, and he had a Jamaican accent, but the thing was is you could understand him clear as day. But when he got angry or he was excited, you could not understand a thing this man had to say. And it was hilarious
Then
getting him
when
worked
he's
up.
saying cadences,
Oh, yeah.
you're like, I don't know what you're
I
saying.
forgot all about that, man. I forgot all about that. Uh, you know, one of the stories that I have with him, he, I think somebody may have gotten on to him about being softer. I'm not sure, but he was on edge about a week before he had passed. I remember that because, um, the national champion Ohio State Buckeyes.
Don't get me started.
Uh,
Don't get me
we
going.
were playing in another national championship game against Florida, which we're not going to talk about the game on this channel, okay? But it pains me that both you and Nick are both from Louisiana, by the way, and LSU fans. But anyways, uh, I had all my Ohio State gear on, and I was in the talk watching the game. All my Ohio State gear, and he came in there, and when I tell you, he ripped me up one side and down the other for not being in uniform. And none of us really used to be in uniform. We'd all sit around and just. But then Clevo came in and was like, "Just leave him alone." But he was on the edge there for a little while. I don't know if he was dealing with something, but Sergeant Wright was one heck of a good guy.
Yeah, he definitely
Definitely
was.
was.
But just looking in that vehicle that day, I would just be like, once I got my paramedic, and I was like, I felt so sorry for that medic because you could tell he was trying to do everything he could, but he couldn't do it. If I knew what I knew now, I I would have prolonged his life a little bit, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. If I would
Yeah.
have knew what I knew now and had the gear I have now, I would have prolonged his life a little bit more.
Yeah. And yeah, and thank God, Leonard made it out of it great. And then you also had one more person in that vehicle
Yeah,
too.
Biggs.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think Biggs probably dealt with a lot too as well. So I
Oh,
mean,
definitely. He had to get
that was a tough situation, man.
yeah, because he was gunning in it, and it completely.
Missed
Welcome
him.
to explosives. You 1 inch to the left, you're dead. If you 1 inch to the right, you're alive.
Yeah, it's insane, man.
Yep.
It really is. So for those of you who don't know, there was a terrorist attack on New Year's Eve down in New Orleans, and if I'm not mistaken, you were one of the first responders to that. Correct?
I watched a truck turn on Bourbon Street.
There you go. Um, so you're talking to somebody now or hearing somebody now who not only went to Iraq, um, and dealt with what he had to deal with there in Iraq. But now you turn around and all those emotions probably are coming back to you with what you're dealing with. And I'm sure you're dealing with stuff currently, man, with that. Uh, if you don't mind, and if you do, that's perfectly fine. Tell me a little bit about what happened there.
Well,
And
that was. I've been in EMS. I've been a paramedic since 2018, but I've been in EMS since 2017, and that was definitely the hardest day of my life as a paramedic. Easy by far, hands down. But when we first got there, it was like I only thought it was a block. I thought, oh, this had to be a drunk guy just hit four people. So when we first made contact with the first four, I was like, okay, this is an accident, but I don't see the truck. Where did the truck go? I looked down Bourbon Street, and then all NOPD started screaming, he's going down. He keeps going. He keeps going. Then I started hearing gunshots, all that stuff. And so I took my little, I was in an ASAP, which is like a small mini little ambulance. So
Yeah.
we could pick up people in the quarter and bring them out to the big units. And that was my truck. So I told my partner, go get the ASAP. We got to go up the street. Did not want to go up the street, just see what I seen. So
Yeah.
I got to the first block off of Canal Street is Iberville. And once we hit that, I couldn't go any further. It was one, two, three, four, five, six, seven bodies right in front of me. And I couldn't get around them. So and she looked at me, she's like, this scene is not safe. I'm like, fuck no, it's not. But we gotta do what we gotta do. We gotta start bagging and tagging these people. I hate to say it like that, but during an MCI like that, and that's also the same time I called, hey, this is gonna be an MCI. I need as many trucks as you can get me down here. And the way in is Canal Street to Iberville. That's the casualty collection point. So, but I didn't know that it spanned almost 3 blocks. So I kept walking up and I kept finding more people. Boom, 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 more people. So, and then I finally got to the truck, and the and he was already dead at that time. He was NOPD already killed him, and not to my knowledge, he had 3 pipe bombs in his truck. So I could have got mangled at any point because he also ran people over at that point where he stopped too. So he had people there, so I had to assess him. So once I think once state police figured out that he had IEDs or he had bombs inside the truck, that's when they're like, everybody get away from the truck. So, but that was definitely the hardest call I ever had to do. But I knew what I had to do. I had to set up a casualty collection point. I was like almost, I guess you could say I was forward, and I was talking to my LT that was back on Canal Street. I was like, look, I need trucks. We have this many black, we have this many red, this many orange, or I'm sorry, yellow, and this many green. And I had the other ASAP go back and keep bringing me people, keep bringing me people. Like that was the one day that I can say NOFD, NOPD, and state police and us worked seamless together. There was no bitching. There was no complaining. I ran that corner. I was like, go get me this. I need this. Nobody's bitched. Everybody was like, okay, what do you need? Tell me what you need. You know, I mean, we got 36 to 38 alive patients off the street in an hour and a half, I think. I mean, we still had 14 blacks. And like I still to this day, like last night I had a call on Iberville and Bourbon Street, right where it happened a year ago, or right where I was at. And I told my captain, I'm like, I hate this block. She's like, I know you do. So
Yeah. It's
like
just one of those things that sticks with you.
yeah, I hate calls on Bourbon Street now. Bourbon Street would ever be not a place to go get drunk, to have fun. It'll always be, I remember this. Y'all don't, but I remember what it looked like at 4 o'clock in the morning on January 1st, 2025.
Yeah, I remember what I remember about that. I have 4 little kids, so we stay up and watch the ball drop and stuff like that. But the next morning, I had heard about it, and no matter where you're at, especially like with me, if I hear a certain city, like I hear New Orleans, I think about you. Um, Here, Louisiana, I think about you in Crouch. Las Vegas. I mean, you got people from all
Yeah.
over the place. But I knew that you were a paramedic down there. My first instant thought is that I hope that he's okay, and I hope Crouch and his family are not weren't down there. Nobody they know was down there. Um, but then once the story started coming out and I started seeing more stuff about, Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, but yeah, I'm not the only one that's ever called you this, and then the first time I've called you this, but you're a hero because of what you did, because you did save lives. Um, and oftentimes we hate to hear that about ourselves, but you are. Um, but that was my initial thoughts. But then when I found out what you had done, it made me proud to know you, and I was happy about that. That I knew how you handled that situation because of what you were trained for. So, um, yeah, I again, I just respect the hell out of you, just like I respect the hell out of everybody that I served with. Um, your story's an interesting one to me, man.
Yeah.
It is, because not only did you go through the shit in Iraq, but you went through the shit in your hometown.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's kind of part of the job. Like I was touching on earlier, it's being EMS or being a first responder is tougher, sometimes way tougher than being in the combat zone in Iraq. Because, like for us, we're not so much hated as much as the police are, but they still attack us. Like we still get attacked all the time. We had to restrain people. I got to
yeah,
sedate people. Like my left shoulder's messed up from fighting a guy a month and a half ago, and he was one of the strongest guys I've ever had to fight. Me and my partner was like, if people don't get here, we're gonna get our asses kicked.
yeah,
So we definitely do get our asses kicked. We get our asses handed to us. But I always say, I'm like, you might be strong, but you're not strong enough for ketamine. So
yeah, yeah.
you
There
know,
you go.
so it helps me out because I've definitely seen it before. Like January 1st. I don't know if you remember. You remember when the 82nd outpost got hit, and we had to go make a new driveway for him. It was me, Bruce. It was only and we took the
I
front end loader.
maybe
Yeah. So that
I
was
was there because didn't we drive that? I think I was there. Either that or we may. I don't remember, but I remember something about that.
yeah. It was, and then that was like one of the first, I guess you could say, mass casualties I was in because it was like 14 people we were hand digging out of the ground to try to get them out. And so I had been through a mass casualty before, but when you're the first person there and you're the because the people that was with me, my partner was only at the service for maybe a year. The other paramedic and EMT was there about the same time, and at the time I was at New Orleans EMS for like 7 years, so I was definitely the senior medic on scene. So I had to like go from I can't believe what I just seen to I got to get people off this street.
Yeah,
So like it's definitely
the
when I get called a
switch.
hero, I'm like, I'm not a hero. I'm just a street medic. You know, I'm a street
Yeah.
medic that does extraordinary things in little time. You know,
Well, you may look at yourself that way, but I know a lot of us look at it differently, man. And I'm one of them, and I'm proud to say that I served with you. Listen, I asked Crouch the same exact question I'm gonna ask you to end this interview, and what that is if you could give one piece of advice, because there may be somebody out there that's watching that wants to join the military, and they don't have a military background, they don't have military people in their lives. Besides, don't listen to what your recruiter is telling you. What advice would you give that new private that you wish was given to you?
oh, go in the military in a clear head, but also know that the military, Marines, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, whatever, you are just a small piece of the bigger picture. Being in the military is very prideful, and I would say take take any military service very pride have a lot of pride in that, but also take advantage of everything you can. Go to schools, go to college, take advantage of everything the military can give you. Because when you get out and you're like me, not knowing fucking anything but what I was taught in the military, you're going to be stuck. So take advantage of everything you can before getting out in the military. So you'll be ready to get out in the military, no matter what. If you get medically retired like I did, or 20 years in retirement, doesn't matter. You'll be ready for the civilian world. But just take every opportunity you can to better yourself.
I love that. I love that. Well, and I think that's great advice. So, um, listen, it's been great talking to you. I'm so happy you agreed to do this because not only did it give me time to catch up with you, but it got me to know things about you that I didn't even know, and I was deployed with you. So a lot of times we don't know too much about, what life was like before the military for each other. We just know here and now. We're going through this shit together, and we're going to get through it, and that's just what it is. And you know, you're doing a great job with your life now, man, and I'm proud of you. And I'm happy to say that I served with you.
Definitely. And anybody that's watching this that's never in the military, just do it. 3 years. Do it. Because you will meet people, you will have experiences that you will never meet anywhere, never have anywhere in the world, never, other than the military. Nobody knows that bond other than someone that was in the military.
It truly is a brotherhood, man.
Yep.
So, all right, bud. Well, again, good talking to you, and thanks for coming on here. I appreciate it.
Hey, anytime. I'll come back on anytime you want to shoot the shit.
Thanks, man.
Join the army.